Hello my beautiful co-creators, Linu here. We're in Chicago and we're about to take a trip with my friend Silly, an architectural trip. Sorry for the noise behind. But this is a very inspiring city. I don't know if you knew, but in I think 1870 something, there's this huge fire and most of the city burned, and then they called the best architect to come over and rebuild and kind of bid on the whole architecture scene. So there's people from all around the world that build the city. And so we're gonna take this tour, boats all around, and I'm gonna take the camera because I think it's absolutely spectacular. Right now we're on Michigan Avenue and this is the lake right now. And we're gonna take one of these boats down there. You see them? So it's very cool, very inspiring. We're in America. Look at this beautiful flag. This is America, the land of opportunity and dreams. Anything is possible in this country. You ready? Let's get some inspiration.
And this event came to be known as the Fort Dearborn Massacre. This is the thing that's demarcated as the first star on our flag. 1816, we rebuilt the fort and the city began to flourish and grow. That is until, of course, 1871 when it burned down to the ground again. Coming up on the left is this cream-colored building with these rotundas on top of it. It looks like a giant wedding cake, in fact, if you kind of look at it from the right angle. This is the 41-story Jewelers building. It was done in 1926 by Thielbar and Dinkelberg. It housed all kinds of jewelry merchants, so one of its highlighting features is a large elevator shaft that was able to accommodate armored cars from the time period. Also has this huge rotunda at the top that used to be a speakeasy by the name of the Skylight, frequented by the infamous gangster Mr. Al Capone. Now, of course, it's just an art gallery owned by the famous architect Helmut Jahn. In contrast, another Mies van der Rohe design on the right-hand side. This is the IBM building. 330 North Wabash is what it's known as today. Another plain, simple glass and steel structure. Very tall, very elegant, very boxy. Mr. Mies van der Rohe did not get to lay eyes on this building. It was his last design, and he actually died while it was being built. In his honor, there's a bust of his head in the lobby of this building. Going from what is called modern architecture, that's that last building we saw, to postmodern. On the left-hand side, a dark gray granite building with black windows and metallic accents on it. This is 35 West Wacker Drive, done by Roshan Dinkaloo in the late 1980s. Home to the Leo Burnett Advertising Agency. They're responsible for making all of our cartoon characters on our food products, including the Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes, Snap Pop and Crackle of Rice Krispies, Charlie the Tuna, the Jolly Green Giant, and even Ronald McDonald of the McDonald's Corporation were all created inside this building. Now going from dark granite to white granite once again on the left. This is 77 West Wacker Drive, done by Ricardo Bofi in 1992. A great example of neoclassical design. It kind of harkens back to classical Greek and Roman architecture with these faux pantheons and even this faux proscenium at the top that shows you clearly that this is the United Airlines building. Used to be the R.R. Donnelley building. They made the phone books here, and this was also featured in the movie The Negotiator, starring Mr. Samuel L. Jackson. Going from 1992 to something much older, 1913 on the right. This is the Reed Murdoch Center. It used to be the most dreaded building in all of Chicago, Traffic Court. Now, of course, it's home to a bunch of different retailers, including Fulton's on the river. And if you can see that clock tower from this angle, it says Britannica on top of it. This is because this is the main hub of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Passing under the LaSalle Street Bridge. One of our many bridges here in Chicago. Most of these are single decks and they accommodate pedestrians and motor vehicle traffic. Not all of them are that case. Some of them are double-decker and also accommodate the same thing. Then there are exceptions like the Wells Street Bridge we're about to pass under next. That bridge accommodates pedestrians, motor vehicle traffic, and the top tier accommodates the Chicago Transit Authority, or CTA. Our CTA trains are on elevated platforms, which is why we call that line the L. This particular line is the brown and purple lines. They go down through the business district, they circle around until they hit the theater district, and then they loop back onto themselves and go back out north, which is why we call the whole downtown area of the city the Loop. Okay, dearies, if you can't see the building on the right-hand side, you're either blind, need to see an optometrist, or just sitting on the wrong side of the boat. This is the second largest building in the United States. Only thing larger than this is the Pentagon. 4 million square feet of floor space, its own zip code, its own fire and police department, and responsible for employing 30,000 people a year. This is the Merchandise Mart, 1920, Brown, Anderson, Gross, and White. Building, allegedly the most photographed and most beloved building in all of Chicago. 333 West Walker Drive, done by Kahn, Henderson & Fox in 1985. Perfect example of postmodern design. One of the big things with postmodernism is contextualism, when a building mimics its surroundings. Most buildings imitate man-made structures, bridges, other buildings. In this case, we've got this structure with curved green glass in the facade. Look down at the river, it's also curving and green and sort of reflected, much like the building is. The building's actually mimicking the river. It even has portholes on the bottom of the building that are like portholes on the bottom of a boat. These are actually functional mechanics of the building that take in fresh air to the whole entirety of the structure. They pump that air through and then shoot out the old used air through the tubing that is running across the front of the glass. Okay, we are now pulling through what is known as Wolf Point, the spot where the river breaks into 3 sections. We just came off the main branch. Behind us is the north branch, which has factories and condominiums. And we are now going down the southern branch of the river. It's a very important river to the history of the waterways of Chicago, as well as the history of the Americas. This waterway connects the northern part of the country to the southern by nothing but waterway. Alright, so here's the deal. We're going to go through this list really quickly. You need to strap on your seatbelts and take your notes very carefully. From this angle is a very wide set view of the Willis Tower. You can see even more so those 9 different tubes that are all kind of set at different heights. It's a very expensive spot to stay on because it's a high traffic area. They moved back here and then got rid of what was known as the Mart Apparel Center in this building. Same structure, just had no windows. That's basically because there were designer fabrics in that building that we use to make our clothing. You don't want those colors on the fabrics distorting, so with no windows you keep the sunlight out, no distortion of fabrics. Now writers do need windows, so you can see the etchings on the side of the building where they had planned to bust out windows. They actually did it all across the front of the building and busted out those walls so that they can now have windows for sunlight. Henderson & Fox made several buildings on this curve of the river here, one of which is on the right beyond the bridge, the sharp right once you get... is the Builders Building. It's a 2-phase building, with the left portion of it being done in 1927, the Westin Hotel, which was formerly the Nico Hotel, which is why it has all kinds of Asian influence in its lobby. These 2 buildings worked together in 1989 to create what is the first riverfront plaza ever to pop up in the city of Chicago. It took us that long to feature this river as a highlight of our city and get it clean so that we wanted to feature this as a highlight. Now, in the 100 or so years that we've been reversing the water flow, you'd think it'd be perfectly clean today, now wouldn't you? At the top looks like the neck of the bottle, and at the top they put actual gold plating. So it's kind of a funky, interesting looking design. Connected to it is a little building I can't stand, this little cream-colored building. It's an Art Deco design with Gothic accents on it. This is known as Mather Tower, but architects in the city gave it a dumb nickname. It's known as the Gothic Rocket. Alright, so it already has a stupid nickname. Can we get any dumber with this building? Oh yes, my friends, we can. This building holds the record for being the tallest building in Chicago for 2 weeks. Towers and a clock tower at the top. 1920 Graham Anderson Probst in white. The centerpiece of the city before we had any of our other major buildings in the city. This is the Wrigley Building. Has 13 shades of white terracotta. Why? It's a fire-resistant material. We're not going to have our city burned down again. Has all these accents across the front of it, and even this clock tower, which are all based off of cathedral designs from Seville, Spain. We'll finish it off with another epic building in Chicago, the neighbor across the street, the Chicago Tribune Building. Chicago Tribune in the 20s wanted the world's greatest building for the world's greatest newspaper. So they put out a competition ad, got 120 designs from all over the world, and the winner is what we see here. This building is like an Art Deco design with these dark windows that emphasize verticality, and even this French Gothic design on the roof. Has an average depth of about 271 feet deep, with this deepest point being 923 feet deep. Lake Michigan is the only one of the 5 Great Lakes housed entirely in the United States, and all of our Great Lakes make up for about 1/5 of the world's freshwater supply. Chicago skyline. They took the 12 tallest buildings in each of the major U.S. cities. They took an average of those heights of the tallest buildings. And then they compared the averages across cities and came to find that Chicago has the tallest skyline in the United States. From this angle, you can see our 4 tallest buildings. Starting from the left, the tallest building in Chicago is this big black boxy structure. 2 white spires on top of it. This is the Willis Tower. Looking far to the left, almost to the center of the skyline, is a blue cylindrical building with a white spire on top of it. 1 single spire. This is the 2nd tallest building in Chicago, the Trump International Tower and Hotel. Between these 2 towers is a cream-colored building with skinny striped black windows running down the front of it. This is the 3rd tallest building in Chicago, the Aon Center. And then moving all the way over to the far right-hand side of the skyline, is this boxy trapezoid-shaped building with X's on it and 2 white spires. I call this the fat, ugly sister of the Willis Tower, the 4th tallest building in Chicago, the John Hancock Building. We'll get into more detail about each of these structures as we make our way across the lake. People think that a bum threw a cigarette butt into a pile of hay. Others think that the neighbors arsoned the barn because they didn't like Irish immigrants. Well, here's the thing with those arsonists. If their intention was to burn down the O'Leary property, they failed. They only burned down the barn and the rest of Chicago. It ended up burning all the way from Harrison Avenue, which is on the far side of the skyline, just beyond that red box building you see there, to Fullerton Avenue, which is way off in the distance where the buildings are small and short because they're out of our queue line. This came to be known as the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. It burnt down tons of buildings in Chicago, killed about 300 people, left millions homeless, and only 6, yes, I said 6 buildings standing in Chicago, one of which was the Water Tower. And Sons in the 1980s. This is the world's first entirely computer-operated facility. It runs everything from the lights down to the toilets flushing. It was also featured in the movie The Adventures in Babysitting. Looking to the right of that, you're going to see a very tall Stacks West cream-colored building with the black windows striping down the front of it. This is the 3rd tallest building in Chicago, as I mentioned earlier. Has a ton of different names, including the Standard Oil Building, the Amoco Building, and today it's known as the Aon Center. They wanted this building to look like a giant Romanesque pillar, so they clad it entirely in this material called Carrara marble. Same material used to make Michelangelo's David statue. It's great for making a statue not so wonderful for a building in Chicago. Eventually, after about 20 years or so of heat and summer, the heat of the summer and the cold of the winter beating on it, it started buckling and cracking. And then eventually they were afraid that this marble was going to start cracking enough so that it would fall on the people of the city below. So they had to strip down the building of all of its marble at the cost of about $1 million per floor. There are 80 floors in this building, $80 million, and replace it with North Carolina Yukon granite. Now, in all of this, all this priciness they paid for it, they learned a very important lesson. One should never, ever take their marble for granite. Alright, off in the back of the skyline here. We gotta talk about it because we did the fourth, the third, and the second. Can't leave out the first. So, we wanted something bigger and better than the Eiffel Tower. In comes this guy from Philadelphia, a railroad engineer. His name is George Washington Gaines Ferris. He said, I got it. I got just the idea. Gigantic steel circle, magnanimous in proportions and size, and it's going to outdo that Eiffel Tower for you because unlike the Eiffel Tower, my design moves. His idea, obviously, the Ferris wheel. So we can use this Ferris wheel and maybe here as a point of reference. This is actually not the home of the neighborhood. Is called the Lincoln Park. It's named so because it houses the largest park in Chicago. And inside that park is a zoo, entirely free. Just because our Chicago Zoo is free does not mean we're cheap. We decide to give you everything. You get the lions, you get the tigers, and you get the bears. Oh my. If you want to check that out, hop on the 151, the 151 bus going northbound and get off at the Lincoln Park Zoo. Stop.
That's where about last night we had
C'est fou, c'est fou. Là, il y a des trafiquants. Hello! How do you like it? Yeah. Look at this. She's French. She's not German, by the way. Yeah, yeah. Look at that. I'm zooming on them. On the other side is Canada. Is it? No, it's Michigan. Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Linu here. We're in Chicago and we're about to take a trip with my friend Celine. An architectural trip. Sorry for the noise behind. But this is a very inspiring city. I don't know if you knew, but in, I think, 1870 something, there's this huge fire and most of the city burned, and then they called the best architect to come over and rebuild and kind of bid on the whole architecture scene. So there's people from all around the world that build the city. And so we're gonna take this tour, boats all around, and I'm gonna take the camera because I think it's absolutely spectacular. Right now we're on Michigan Avenue, and this is the lake right now. And we're gonna take one of these boats down there. You see them? So it's very cool, very inspiring. We're in America. Look at this beautiful flag. This is America, the land of opportunity and dreams. Anything is possible in this country. You ready? Let's get some.
Contrast, another Mies van der Rohe design on the right-hand side. This is the IBM building. 330 North Wabash is what it's known as today. Another plain, simple glass and steel structure. Very tall, very elegant, very boxy. Mr. Mies van der Rohe did not get to lay eyes on this building. It was his last design, and he actually died while it was being built. In his honor, there's a bust of his head in the lobby of this building. Going from what is called modern architecture, that's that last building, a wedding cake in fact, if you kind of look at it from the right angle. This is the 41-story Jewelers building. It was done in 1926 by Thielbar and Dinkelberg. It housed all kinds of jewelry merchants, so one of its highlighting features is a large elevator shaft that was able to accommodate armored cars from the time period. Also has this huge rotunda at the top that used to be a speakeasy by the name of the Skylight, frequented by the infamous gangster Mr. Al Capone. Now, of course, it's just an art gallery owned by the famous architect Helmut Jahn.
Inspiration!
this event came to be known as the Fort Dearborn Massacre. This is the thing that's demarcated as the first star on our flag. 1816, we rebuilt the fort, and the city began to flourish and grow. That is until, of course, 1871, when it burned down to the ground again. Coming up on the left is this cream-colored building with these rotundas on top of it. It looks like a giant